The doors to the Viridian tea house are open once more. Hello everyone, it's a brand new video and I've got tons to talk about. One thing that I do want to mention in my world is a new book of mine will be coming out, if not this week, then next week. It's called Louis and Estelle. It's very much a literary book, but it's filled with all sorts of problems and issues and romance and friendships, but it is independently published through Amazon. And the cover artwork was done by my boyfriend, James W. Bullard. You've seen a lot of his watercolor that I've sold on Etsy and whatnot. But this was very much a labor of love. And as all of my books have been labors of love, but I'm really, really happy about this book coming out because I had no plans of even writing it. It just happened one day while writing in my journal. So once it comes out, and I'll post all the Amazon links on social media, I'll also order copies from my Etsy store, and there will be an accompanying tea blend as well. So I'm really excited. But if it's not this week, then it'll definitely be next week. But I just got to hammer out some final details, and I'll let you guys know. So without further ado, let's begin. So these two books I'm excited to talk about. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I've been delving more into world literature, going beyond the United States of America and just really learning about different cultures and languages and situations and learning about different authors and poets. And it's been a great way to travel and see the world from the library or from a bookstore or at home with my feet propped up. And I'm truly grateful that the library systems that are nearby offer such a plethora of books that you can choose from. And even if, I discover an author through like World Literature Today, which is a great magazine, by the way, I can check out one of the library systems and say, oh, well, Denver Public Library has it or Inglewood Library has it, and I can go check it out. And that leads me to eventually buying those books and other books that the authors or poets have written. So anyway, this one, a little short story. So when I'm a volunteer for Denver Public Library, and I work a lot of the book sales. Well, we just had our big sale at the LH Theater in Denver. And there was one book as I was straightening up and shopping, like you do. And I kept seeing this one book, and something told me, you really ought to get this book. And I kept opening it up and looking at the dust jacket. And I was like, no, I'll get it later. Well, of course, the next time I worked my shift, it was gone. So I was like, all right, well, let me see if I can find it through the library. And I was able to. And I feel regret that I didn't buy it, but I'm glad that I was able to read it. And this is called The Ginseng Hunter by Jeff Talarigo. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, but that's the cover of the book. This was a beautiful, minimalist, writing styled novel. I loved it. It was exquisite and it was haunting and just beautiful words. So let me read the dust jacket for you. Let's see. Set at the turn of the 21st century in China along the Tumen River, which separates northeast China and North Korea. The Ginseng Hunter is an unforgettable portrait of life along a fragile border. A Chinese ginseng hunter lives alone in the valley and spends his days up in the mountains looking for ginseng and preparing for winter. He is scarcely aware of the larger world until shadowy figures hiding in the fields, bodies floating in the river, and rumors of thievery and murder begin to intrude on his cherished solitude. On one of his monthly trips to Yanji, where he buys supplies and visits a brothel, he meets a young North Korean prostitute. Through her vivid tales, the tragedy occurring across the river unfolds, and over the course of the year, the hunter unnervingly discovers that the fates of the young woman and 4 others rest in his hands. Spare, intimate, and strikingly atmospheric, the Ginseng Hunter takes us into the little understood lives or North Koreans, and confirms Jeff Talarigo's immense gift for storytelling. And Mr. Talarigo is very much a gifted storyteller, absolutely has a way with words. And about the author, he won the American Academy of Arts and Letters Rosenthal Foundation Award for his widely acclaimed first novel, The Pearl Diver, which I have that on my to-be-read list. After living in Japan for almost 14 years, he, with his wife and son, moved back to the United States in 2006. He was awarded a fellowship at the New York Public Library's Dorothy and Louis B. Coleman Center for Scholars and Writers. The Ginseng Hunter is his second novel. The prose in here was exquisite and spare, intimate, and very atmospheric. Like, when I started reading this book, I felt as though I left Colorado and I was now in China and walking with this ginseng hunter, and he's just telling me a story. I could see everything that he saw. I could feel it. I could smell it. All of my senses were engaged with this book. And what a treasure. I mean, it's a slim book, but this was a treasure to read, and I cannot wait to read The Pearl Diver. Some of the scenes were kind of hard to read, but this is a part of the world that not too many people know about. And we're seeing it through the eyes of someone who prefers solitude and just has a routine. And as long as he has the routine, his life is fine. But it's soon upsetted, and it's still just a beautiful piece of work. So for The Ginseng Hunter by Jeff Talarigo, this receives Viridian Tea House's 5 pots of tea. This was an excellent, exquisite. How many times can I say exquisite? I loved it. I truly, truly loved reading this book. And like I said, I do regret the fact that I didn't buy that copy at the library sale, but who knows? I've got library sales coming up, and maybe I'll see it at a future sale, but I definitely want a copy of this book. And like I said, I'm looking forward to reading The Pearl Diver as well. Just excellent work. And if the author is watching this, I love your words. I love how you wove this beautiful tapestry that anyone can just step right through, and they're no longer in their home. Thank you so much. Truly beautiful. So the next book, let me just put it over here. So the next book, again, I traveled from China, and then I ended up in Israel. And a little short story about this. So I discovered this book through Inglewood Library. Yay, Inglewood Library. And I didn't know anything about the author. So I read it and, was reading it, and I noticed that I wanted to take my time with this book. I wanted to savor every word, just like reading The Ginseng Hunter. So one day while I was working at Golden Farmers Market, this older woman and this younger woman, and I assumed that they were mother and daughter, they came up to my table. And I was just talking with them, and then I mentioned something, and they said, well, we're from Israel. And I was like, oh, I said, well, that's really cool. I'm converting to Judaism. And they're like, oh, and I said, I know very little Hebrew, very, very little. And so I showed them the book that I was reading, and they said, oh, he's really big in Israel. He died recently. And when I heard those words, like, my heart just dropped to my feet, because in a weird way, in reading this book, I established a connection with the author. And in the back of my mind, I was like, this is a friendship that spans thousands and thousands of miles. To hear that he had died, and he died in April of this year, it was a little bit heart-wrenching. I didn't even meet the guy. Who am I talking about? Meir Shalev, in his book, My Wild Garden, Notes from a Writer's Eden. I had no idea about his life. I had no idea how big he was in Israel. And in reading this book, I can see why he was extremely popular. So let me read the inside desk jacket for you. A colorfully illustrated round of the seasons in the garden of the best-selling novelist, memoirist, and champion putterer with a wheelbarrow. On the perimeter of Israel's Jezreel Valley, with the Carmel Mountains rising up in the west, Meir Shalev has a beloved garden, neither neatly organized nor well kept, as he cheerfully explains. Often covered in mud and scrapes, Shalev cultivates both nomadic plants and house dwellers, using his own quirky techniques. He extols the virtues of the lemon tree, rescues a precious variety of purple snapdragon from the Jerusalem-Tel Aviv highway, that was a really good story, and does battle with the saboteur mole rat, that was funny. He even gives us his superior private recipe for curing olives. Informed by Shalev's literary sensibility, his sometimes riotous humor, and his deep curiosity about the land, My Wild Garden abounds with appreciation for the joy of living, quite literally, on earth. Our borrowed time on any particular patch of it is enhanced, the author reminds us, by our honest, respectful dealings with all manner of beings who inhabit it with us. And about the author, one of Israel's most celebrated novelists, Meir Shalev, was born in 1948 on Nahalal, Israel's first moshav. His books have been translated into more than 25 languages, and his honors include the National Jewish Book Award and Israel's Brenner Prize for A Pigeon and a Boy. I fell in love with his garden, and just like with the ginseng hunter, reading this book, I was suddenly transported to Israel, and Meir Shalev is there, and he's not acting surprised that I suddenly just showed up. He smiles and nods his head, and he's like, well, let's get started. I want to tell you about my wild garden. And I learned about different plants and trees, mole rats, all kinds of birds, everything about a land that I've never seen. But reading this book made me feel as though I was there. And the detail, the beauty, the passion that he has for his little patch of land, it's obvious. And I fell in love with this book, and I started searching for his other books as well. I have one of his books upstairs. But yes, if you are into gardening, if you are into any kind of nature books or travelogues in a way, or if you just want to explore something different than your own backyard, My Wild Garden by Meir Shalev. And many thanks to Inglewood Library for having this book. And I give it 5 pots of tea from Viridian Tea House. Reading this book was greatly enhanced by talking with the Israeli woman and her daughter. And I loved how we were talking in English, and then they would switch off into Hebrew, and then they would come back and talk to me in English. But just connections. And I felt very connected with this book. I just truly did. Like, I could, just like with the ginseng hunter, I could see Meir Shalev's garden. And I could just imagine seeing like the lemon tree or the olive trees or the eucalyptus trees or the mole rat and all of it. This was a beautiful trip through Israel, and I am so grateful to have accidentally discovered his writing, and I look forward to reading more of his works. So My Wild Garden by Meir Shalev and The Ginseng Hunter by Jeff Talarigo. 2 books that are quite worth the read. So let's see here. What do I want to talk about next? Okay, time for a review. But guess what? It's not tea. What? I'm not going to review tea today. I know. But you know what I'm going to review? I'm going to review coffee alternatives. So last week at the Wheat Ridge Farmers Market, one of the vendors told me about how he partnered up with a company that makes coffee alternatives, Lions Brew. They're up in Poughkeepsie, New York, actually. And I got the little brochure here, so I'm going to read directly from the brochure. But Lions Brew is a superfood coffee alternative that tastes like coffee, brews like coffee, and is made from ingredients that are naturally caffeine, gluten, and acid-free. What are the benefits of our brew? Well, and let me just say for the record, so this sample is called Jamaican Waves. Let me tell you something. If the owners of Lions Brew was watching this, this is the truth. I opened this up, and I took a deep sniff, and that look on my face, oh my God, there's coffee, and then there's, dear God, I want a cup of this right now. So the Jamaican Waves is organic dandelion root, organic chicory root, organic carrot bean, natural colors and flavors, organic lion's mane mushroom, organic maitake mushroom, organic MCT oil, and organic maya nut. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with lion's mane mushroom and maitake, they list it all in here. Lion's mane mushroom has been used for thousands of years in China and Japan as a medicinal mushroom. Research of these mushrooms suggests that they may offer support for cognition, memory, focus, neurological, and brain health. Lion's mane is able to cross the blood-brain barrier and may be why it has been shown to promote neurogenesis, the growth of new nerve and brain cells. Through neurogenesis, brain fog is lifted, memory improves, and cognition is enhanced. We are happy to say we use a 4-to-1 lion's mane extract in all of our Lions Brew blends. And maitake mushroom is rich in bioactive polysaccharides that have well-documented immune protecting properties. The beta-D-glucans in maitake have a strong effect on the immune system. It helps boost the production of protein mediators and secreted proteins that improve your immune response. So if you go to, that's just the tip of the iceberg, but if you go to, and I'll put the website, but I'm saying this now, www.thelionsbrew.com, you'll get all the information about their different coffee alternatives. So for Jamaican Waves, the smell that I'm getting is earthy, chocolatey, a little bit sweet. And this just makes me want to just drink cup after cup of this coffee. I have never smelled, I've smelled flavored coffees before, but this has I don't know, this is the best way to put it. The smell is deep. Like, it's not just on the surface and then you're like, oh, it's just coffee with like flavor. Like, it's deep. All of the flavors come together and it's just pulled down. Sorry, that's the best way I can explain it. But so I used it in a French press and I let it sit for about 5 minutes. So this is my first time trying Jamaican Waves from Lions Brew coffee alternative. Ooh, what a fantastic flavor. You would never guess that this was not coffee. Like, there are no coffee beans in this at all, and yet I would actually like to drink this in the morning. So yes, I do own a tea company. Yes, I love my tea. But in the morning, my boyfriend and I have what I call coffee and conversation. He'll make a pot of coffee and I'll have a cup, and I usually add oat milk. And right now I got a little bit of hazelnut creamer, but usually it's just oat milk. And he just puts in 1 tablespoon of sugar. And we'll just sit in the morning and just talk and drink our coffee, and then we go off and do our separate things. But this is a rich, bold, and yet mellow taste. and it's very flavorful. And like I said, the flavors, they're pulled down deep. Like I'm not just getting this surface of a flavor. This is exquisite. Mm. And I didn't add anything to this, and this is absolutely delicious. So I wanted to I got a sample blend of also their dark roast, and I'll be trying that, not Viridian Tea House, or I might just save it for another video, I don't know. But yeah, this is Jamaican Waves that I just tried, and this is excellent. So if you're looking for a coffee alternative, if you love the taste of coffee, but you don't want to do the caffeine, or you're just trying something different, or you read a lot about different mushrooms and their properties and you are trying to expand, you really cannot, I mean, just with this sample alone, Lion's Brew, you can't go wrong. You really cannot go wrong with that. That's excellent. That really is. So before I get to the meditation, I try to pick out something, hey, that's really cool that I've seen or done or whatever. And I want to talk about a particular documentary that I just showed my boyfriend a couple of days ago. This is called Finding Vivian Meir. And I remember seeing this, it was back in Memphis, and it was a screening of it. And I was like, I've never even heard of this photographer. And when I listened to the story, and I think the director was there, or the guy who created the documentary was there, I was like, my God, this was all by chance, by luck. So let me read the back of it for you. Who is Vivian Meir? Now considered one of the 20th century's greatest street photographers, Vivian Meir was, and some people say Meir, but I'm following what most people said in the documentary and saying Meir, was a mysterious nanny who secretly took over 100,000 photographs that went unseen during her lifetime. Since buying her work by chance at an auction, amateur historian John Maloof has crusaded to put this prolific photographer in the history books. Meir's strange and riveting life and art are revealed through never-before-seen photographs, films, and interviews with dozens who thought they knew her. If you can get a chance to watch this documentary, if you are interested in American history or photography, or you just like a good documentary, you cannot go wrong with Finding Vivian Meir. This is an excellent, excellent documentary. And that's my cool thing for the week. All right, so before I say au revoir, let's do a breathing meditation. Make sure you have a cup of tea or water. I've got my coffee alternative here, and you guys know the drill. So whenever you're ready, let's begin. And now let's end this meditation with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Slowly open your eyes, or allow your eyes to come into focus. And now enjoy a sip of your coffee alternative, tea, or water. That's still amazing. So that's all I have for today. So many thanks to Inglewood Public Library, Denver Public Library, the ghost of Viridian Meir, Jeff Talarigo, Meir Shalev, may his memory forever be a blessing, and to the good folks at Lion's Brew for an amazing coffee alternative. And thank you guys for watching these silly, crazy videos where I do no editing whatsoever. And if you like what you see, please comment or give it a thumbs up. I really would appreciate it. So that's it. Take care of yourself and each other. Raise your teacup high. And remember that to drink tea is to enjoy life. I actually remembered my sign this time. Y'all take care, and I'll see y'all really soon. Bye for now.